When I was born and my father, the chief of our fishing village, looked at me for the first time, he was furious. He went purple in the face and said, "I come from a long line of first sons, and this girl ruined it. You should have given me a boy." Mom tells me that as he said this, I grabbed a lock of his hair and pulled it. Immediately, he pushed me into my mama's arms and left the room saying, "You've brought shame to me." I am Maria, and I live in a small village in the eastern part of Brazil. I was the eldest child in my family, and I had a younger brother, Carlos, whom my dad worshipped. He was so proud of him only because he was a boy. But the important thing is that my father was the chief of the village, which means I'm a princess, and I freaking hated it. My parents never wanted me to go to school. But guys, before I continue my story, please know that My Story Animated will give $1,000 to one lucky person who subscribes in the next 7 days. Tell your friends, tell your sister, brother, and mom to subscribe now. I was always walking around in dangling pieces of gold jewelry and such heavy clothes. Mom was always ordering servants to do my hair or to paint my face and hands and feet, but I never finished any of these beauty sessions. I would always give the maids one of my gold accessories so that they would let me leave. Then I would sneak off to the river where there would be small groups of young boys learning how to read and write. I used to hide in the bushes and listen to the teacher, and that's how I learned how to read and write when I was only 5. Of course, my parents had no idea. When I was 8, my dad thought that all of my mom's hard work had paid off, and I looked really pretty. Yes, you're still a shame, but thank God at least you're beautiful. I can brag about that. Then Dad made a new law in the village. If anyone ever wanted to see me, the princess, they had to pay money because, according to him, having a princess is something special, and having a beautiful princess is a blessing that should be paid for. Dad then decided to increase the security of our house and made sure that my face would be covered when any of the village people wanted to visit me to get blessed. People would come to kiss my hands and touch my arms to bring them good luck. One day, a huge, scary-looking woman came and put a piece of paper at my foot and then started saying things like, "Oh la la lol, shonke ton affexe le boo." I looked at her in disbelief and snatched the paper. It said bad things about me, wishing the worst for me. I yelled, "Dad, she wants me to disappear, and you too. She is using black magic to make her daughter the princess." Dad almost fainted and kicked the woman out. He kissed my forehead and said, "Good job exposing this insane woman. Wait, how did you know how to read the paper?" I tried to come up with a lie, but I failed. "You're only a pretty face. No more than that. Do you understand?" And then he left. Next day, I found out that there were even more security guards everywhere. But 1 year later, I found a new way to continue learning. I demanded some of my visitors to bring me books and stories if they wanted to get my blessings. The women agreed to do that instead of paying. Of course, soon enough, Dad realized that the income had decreased, and he went ballistic. "What are you up to, idiot?" "I just want to learn." "Why? You're a princess and have a pretty face. Isn't that enough?" "Dad, there is nothing you could do to stop me from learning. I'll always find a way." "Don't make me do something that I will regret, Maria." "No, I'm not scared, and you need me more than I need you." Dad looked defeated for a second and left the room. He got back a minute later. He was holding a brush and some colors and white paper. "Here, a moron from the capital city gave me this present. He said this stuff is used to make art. I'm sure it's something stupid, but a useless girl like you might have fun eating it, or I don't know what people do with these things." "Dad, no, I don't want this." "You don't have an option." And with that, he left. I put the present aside and never used it until one day, when some of the women ran to kiss my hand, she accidentally pushed the colors aside and they fell down on the white papers. What I saw there made me freeze. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. It was, I didn't have words for it. And from that day, I started to draw things. I drew myself, my family, and even the women who used to visit. I didn't tell anyone, especially Dad, that I enjoyed drawing because I was sure this jerk would take away anything that might make me happy. Until one day, a young lady came to visit while I was drawing my own picture. I couldn't hide the painting in time, and she was able to see it. She froze. She looked really, and I mean really shocked. Oh, my God, what is this thing? I've never seen such a beautiful thing in my life before." Then she got on her knees, put her hands around her head, and started crying. "How could this be so beautiful and real? Oh God, I need to tell everyone." And she ran away before I could stop her. Soon enough, more women were coming and looking at my portraits and got the same reaction from everyone. "This is new. This is a miracle. This is God's hand." And then she bowed, and other women did the same. Soon enough, the entire village knew about my paintings and came to see my work. I had no idea what was going on. I knew I was doing something new. The entire painting idea was new in my village at that time. It reminded me now of the people's reaction when they saw TVs for the first time. They said it was witchcraft or magic. People took time to process and accept TVs, radios, or any new invention. And the same thing was happening with my paintings in my village. Of course, I now know it's called painting. Back then, we called it marking the paper. But my people didn't panic or get scared. Instead, they fell in love with my portraits, and they never left my house. Dad was furious and came pushing through the crowd, yelling at me, "What do you think you're doing here? Just taking your advice and having fun with your present? And look what you did. People can't stop talking about this. They don't go to work anymore. They just sit around my house all day, asking to see your stupid papers." One of the women shouted, "Don't call her work stupid, or else." "Yes, it is stupid. It's something new. Something we never knew about before in this village, but that doesn't mean it's anything special. And don't talk to me like that. I'm your master. You should worship me, not a useless girl like her. And for what? Stupid papers?" "Papers? Have you even seen my papers, Dad?" "No. And I'm not even interested. I'm your dad, but they are being too dramatic just because you're their princess and they want to please you. They just want your blessings. That's why they're overreacting. And to answer your question, no, I don't want to see anything here." Then I held the painting of his face and showed it to him. "Even if it was yours, Dad?" Suddenly, Dad looked like he was about to have a heart attack. His lips started shaking and his eyes teared up. Is that me? What is this? It's... I know, Dad. I'm still looking for that word." Then Dad sat down and asked everyone to bow, and so they did. I just looked at them, and everyone was silently bowing. I waited for them for a minute or two to stand up, but they didn't until I said, "You can stand up, everyone," and they obeyed me. At that exact moment, I knew that I was given great power. I ruled the village. I wasn't sure, though, if Dad was being honest or not. I found out later he was only faking it so people would believe him, and that would give me more power. And to be honest, I did enjoy all the attention. People were making sure I was always comfortable and happy. They even divided the shifts among each other to take care of me. They built a huge palace for me and my family and would give us everything we needed. As I got older, people fell more and more in love with my paintings, and they were certain that I was a miracle child. So by the time I was 14, I took advantage of it. I tried to make changes. I ordered that all girls be enrolled in school, and I changed different laws to achieve equality between women and men. All was perfect. The people loved me and made me their queen, and Dad didn't even protest. That is, until one day, my brother came to my room and sat next to me. "Hey, want me to draw you now? They are ugly." "What are they?" "Your papers. There isn't anything special about them." "When did you start speaking nonsense?" "Nonsense is what's been going on with everybody in this insane village. I never liked your work. I was just a kid and saw everyone being hypnotized, and I acted the same way because I thought it was the right reaction. If I were you, I would keep my opinion to myself." "No. Carlos, don't be stupid. They love me and love my work. What do you think they would do to you if they hear your honest opinion? I'll make sure to end this. I promise." And with that, he left. The next day, my brother was standing in the village square yelling at everyone, and people started to gather around him. "People, it's time to get your sanity back. What's happening here is bad. It is dangerous. Listen to me, my people. I'll save you. I'll enlighten you. I'll free you. The papers of the princess are nothing but art, and art doesn't control people. Art is beautiful, but don't give it more importance than it deserves. Free your minds." "Are you out of your mind, kid? How could he talk about our princess like that? Let's teach him a lesson." And in seconds, hundreds of people were around Carlos ready to kick his butt. But I yelled, "Stop!" Everyone froze and did what I asked. "No one touch him. Carlos, I command you to leave right now." Carlos looked terrified and left the place running. Then to my people I said, "My faithful people, I apologize, and I promise this won't happen again." Then people started cheering and clapping. That night, everyone gathered in front of the palace and they partied until the morning. The more I painted, the crazier people got. They stopped going to work. Children didn't go to school. Women wouldn't stop getting pregnant. They wanted more children to name them after me, to honor me. It was chaos. And for the first time in my life, I realized I had messed up. I had ruined my own village. I ran to Carlos. What should we do? We? Like you and your people? No, like me and the only sane person in this village. Say it again. Who is the genius? I didn't say genius. Fine, you're a genius. Help me. He looked straight into my eyes and whispered, run. And where should I go? I mustn't know, or they will make me tell them where you are. That night, I gathered my stuff, my paintings, and a lot of money, and I left. The next morning when I got to the capital, I entered a small store to get some food. When I got to the cashier to pay, I thought for a second, and instead of paying, I held one of my paintings to show him. He looked at me in silence. Are you okay, kiddo? Can't you see this? Yeah, yeah, what's the word? It's okay-ish. Maybe with a little practice, you'll get better. Aren't you going to pay now? I realized at that moment that the big city was something else. I settled down and started taking painting classes. After a few years, I met someone and we got married and had 5 children. 20 years passed since the day I left my village. One day, I got a phone call saying that my dad had passed away. When I got there, I was scared people might gather around me or go crazy, but nothing happened. I got curious and stopped to ask some people if they recognized me, but they shook their heads until I met an old lady who came running to me and said, "Our princess." You know me? Why aren't you bowing? Why? Oh, you mean because of the paintings. They weren't anything special, honey. You were a princess, and we wanted to please you. We just wanted your blessings. So why did no one look for me after I left? Why would anyone? Listen, we loved you so much, and we respected your decision to go. We had overreacted to your art, and it got out of control. We never wanted you to leave, and people never stopped mentioning you. Even our young kids know you. Is that true? Yes. Watch this. Hey, everyone. This is Princess Maria, the just beloved queen you've all heard about. Then people started gathering around us. Kids were running to hug me, and women started kissing my hand. Oh, Princess Maria, we love you. Our children love you. I hugged them back, and with teary eyes I said, I love you too, all of you.